nice. Years ago. You're right.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'll call this regular council meeting, July 14th at 5:30 p.m. to order, and to acknowledge with gratitude that we do our work tonight on the traditional territory of Chehalis. And I do believe there is a public hearing tonight. Is there any late items? No late items? Then could I have a mover and a seconder, please, for approval of the agenda? Moved by Councillor Schweinben, seconded by Councillor Jackson. All in favor? Thank you. Does anyone have a declaration of a conflict of interest tonight? No? Then we will move on to item number 7. Do you want these done individually, corporate officer? Or?
I think if we can take them all together, just making sure to check for any errors or omissions, and that would be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Move, your worship.
Thank you. Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Is there any errors or omissions? And I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And any business arising from those minutes? Seeing none, we'll move on. There are no delegations or petitions this evening. So item 10, correspondence. Could I just have a mover and second? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Could I have a seconder for receipt? Thank you, Councillor Schweinben. Any discussion on that? And I'll call the.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I wanted to, I appreciated the letters that came in with regards to two of the topics. The first one I'll refer to is the road through the park, I'll call it.
Councillor Schweinben,
yes,
if you don't mind, I think we'll just receive that correspondence. And then when we move on to business arising for the correspondence, I certainly can speak then. Okay. Do we have a mover and a seconder? All right. All in favor of receipt then? Thank you. All right, Councillor Schweinben, go ahead under business arising.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, the ones that were interesting to me, and I appreciated the responses from Mayor Tallon. The first one is with regards to the exit. And this is, I know, something that concerns a lot of residents, and I just wanted to give you my take on this. And it mirrors, I think, what Mayor Tallon was saying. You know, I've biked and hiked in that area, and I would encourage people to take their car from the village center here and drive all the way to the to the Deer Lake campground and time it with their car, take the car that they would use for an evacuation. And you can see how windy and dangerous and narrow and difficult that road would be at the best of times, never mind when thousands of people are trying to make it up in that area. And then imagine that when you get to the Deer Lake Park, that's where all the fun begins, because then we need to somehow create a new road on an old rail bed for about 2.5 kilometers, and then go through another about 12 kilometers of even worse, windy, steep logging roads down to Highway 7. So at this point in time, it has been proposed that it's an easy fix just to fill the gap. But that road, neither the paved road along Rockwell, nor the rest of the road to Deer Lake, nor the road past Deer Lake, is suitable for a Honda Civic or a minivan for the thousands of people that would be leaving Harrison. We have a wonderful evacuation route currently, and I don't see how that one would be safe the way that it's been proposed. If it was designed and engineered and paved for an evacuation route, then that's maybe something we can look at in the future, but the current proposal I don't think fits that bill. The second one is with regards to I'll put in quotation marks, secret meetings. This is something honestly that kind of I wondered about as a citizen before I sat on council. And, you know, you always wonder about that, but I can assure people that my colleagues, I think, can back me up on this one. Sometimes they're the most mundane and boring topics, and they really are just the legal stuff. And whenever somebody's mentioned, we have to go into a in-camera meeting, or if there's some land being discussed. I was very concerned last month when I was in Ontario and I was off Facebook for a little while, and somebody had postulated that we were selling Memorial Hall, and that's why we were having a secret meeting. And it was clearly very divisive to the community. I don't think it was helpful at all. It was not based on any iota of truth at all. So the reality is it's hard to trust politicians sometimes, but these are mundane topics that we can't talk about in open because it usually involves people. So I appreciated Mayor Talon's comments on that as well.
Anyone else? Councilor Facio.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to follow up on my colleague's comments on not a follow of answering Facebook pages, so I won't make comments on that portion of it. But as I sit on the regional district, we have between 36 and 40 closed meetings every year. It's you know, one meeting we could have 3 in one evening. So it's a matter of what the subject matter is, and sometimes you have to have them. And it's I don't know why there's such a big commotion over closed meetings. There's no such thing as secret meetings. Never has been. They're closed, and we will continue when we need them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Facio. Anything else? Councilor Jonathan?
Thank you. I will raise there was a letter from the Better Women's Society, Better Women's Support Services, sorry. And I'm wondering, you know, as we look to the future and designing our village, I remember back to when I was at University of Waterloo, and we had some serious violent attacks on women, and they had to make some engineering and design issues around lighting and sidewalks, and although it may not, you know, some women do feel unsafe, and I'm just wondering if we should reply to these folks, maybe even welcome them in and see if they have ideas for us for new lighting along our roadways or sidewalks, because we may not feel unsafe walking at night, but there are young women and women who may feel unsafe in certain areas, and they may give us some good ideas as to how we can improve our community for safety. So I would move that we at least reply to these people and see if they've got some information they can send us, and or invite them to speak to us.
Come as a delegation.
Sure.
Yeah. Very nice.
That would be my motion.
All right, is there a seconder?
I'll second that, Your
Second by
Worship.
Councilor Facio. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Worship. We all lived to see a horrible one in Kelowna. The gentleman came out of court with a court order, and we know what he did. All the writing to these wonderful people isn't going to change it. The only direction that any of us could go is to go after the politicians in Ottawa to take what's happening in this beautiful province seriously. It is horrible. And until such time as they wake up and change not only the bail, but the provisions within the courts to keep these bad people locked up, it's only going to get worse. And I have phoned many MPs, and I have never had a response from one of them in government. This is where the pressure has got to come. It's got to come from the people. It's getting worse, and I'm getting really concerned about it. So I'm not against having anybody come as delegation. I don't mean that. But we have to put our priorities really with the Liberal government. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. All right. We had a mover and a seconder for Councillor Schweinbetz's motion. Any further discussion on it?
Madam Chair, based on what Councillor Jackson said, should we add to the amendment an addendum to write a letter to our member of parliament, encouraging a, I don't know what kind of wording you'd like to use, but encouraging stronger sentencing and greater protection for women.
To change the judicial system.
You want to make an amendment then?
I'd be happy
your
to
motion?
support what Alan Jackson said.
All right, can we have a second?
That's fine with me.
Amended motion? Okay, then I'll call the question on the amended motion. All in favor? Thank you. And we now need to go back to the original motion with the amendment. Is that correct? Okay. Could I have then call the question on the original motion that is now amended?
All in favor?
All in favor? Thank you. I would like to add a couple of comments on our business arising from correspondence. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Tallon for his response to the resident asking about closed meetings. I thought that it put out quite clearly and provided a lot of clarification on closed meetings. And further to council's comments, I think it's worthwhile also pointing out that we do release the minutes or resolutions from closed meetings if and when we think it's appropriate at a later time. So, regarding Councillor Schweinbetz's comments on the second evacuation route, appreciate your comments, Councillor Schweinbetz. This is a project that this council in conjunction with the District of Kent have been working towards for, I would say, 15 years. And we jointly with District of Kent hired a consultant to determine what the best route is. It is now in the hands of the province. So we have to wait for whether the province says, yes, you can expand the park boundary. So we're kind of at a standstill right now. You know, Councillor Schweinbetz's, I am in support of that second evacuation route. In my opinion, 2 routes are better than 1. So we'll see what the province comes back with. I have no idea when that will be. And again, if they approve it, then, there is a lot more to be done before that second evacuation route would ever become a reality. So thank you. Any further business then from the correspondence? No? We'll move on then. Reports from councillors. Councillor Jackson, would you like to go ahead?
Sure. I think I'm just gonna start right this time. Line of first parade. I just have a few thank yous because it was a good parade. We had a lot of fun. I want to thank our judges, Wendy and Mandy, who second or third year did an outstanding job picking up the winners. Of course, there were no losers. That's the nice part about it. Also to great helpers, Rav and Lori Ann. They did an outstanding job getting things coordinated, and without it, really can't do it. It's a tough day to get it all done. Came off well. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Again, Muddy Waters, Richard and Jenny have always come through for us, which we really appreciate. The Black Forest Restaurant again, super with them. The Village of Harrison Hot Springs contributed this year, which is very, very nice. Tourism Harrison, and special shout out to Rachel and Sonia. Very well done. July the 8th, 9th, well, we had the Communities of Bloom judges. You had to be there on July the 8th at 5 o'clock. To me, it was magical. I hadn't seen, experienced something like that probably since I saw The Wizard of Oz when I was a young person. I loved it. It was just something that you don't get very often, and we experienced it. Thank you. I know the judges really enjoyed it. And we'll just see the results in another month or so, but I think we're gonna score pretty high. I'd like to thank the Resort Hotel for contributing. It was very, very nice of them to do that. Tourism Harrison, and of course, the CIBC members, all of our members of the committee came through it outstanding. And we have more things coming up in the future, and especially our staff. Without it, we would go nowhere without the staff. So my hat's off to them, and I'm looking forward to new events coming up. Thank you, Your Worship.
Well said, Councillor Jackson. Thank you. Councillor Schweimitz?
Sure. Thank you.
We're going in line.
Madam, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. On June 23rd, I attended the North Fraser Community Futures Annual General Meeting Breakfast. It was lovely. We voted on some new directors and some new policies. That we were given a presentation about their new plans, and they've got more money this year. For some reason, they were given a grant from an old forestry grant, and they're very keen to help new entrepreneurs and old entrepreneurs. So if there's anybody in the community that is looking for new alternative ways of gaining capital and expertise and classes and courses, please get in touch with the North Fraser Community Futures. On Canada Day, a shout out to the organizers, including Councillor Jackson. The Canada Day was the first time that I was able to actually participate in a Canada Day. Usually I'm in front of the chocolate store with my family and having a good time and working really hard. So to see and experience the energy that this village has, every village has its warts and its issues and complaints, but to see everyone come together that day on a beautiful day was something I'll never forget. Quite frankly, it was just wonderful. On July 8th, along with the other councillors here, I attended the Community in Bloom, and I can't say enough about the committee, the job that you guys did in conjunction with staff, to have people from other communities come here and to really get a good look at the beauty that our community has. The gardens, this area, the museum, the resort, the waterfront. They were in shock, and actually it's something that we probably all take for granted, but when you walk it slowly with people who appreciate it, you appreciate what you have in your backyard. On July 9th, I attended with CAO the Letsamot C2C meeting. I think there's going to be an important report coming out of that entitled the Geotechnical Hazard Report. And we've got some hazards in our area that we're going to be talking about in the future, I think. So thank you. That's my report.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. And I forget the date, and I wanted to make special mention of this. Councillor Fascio here was awarded the King Charles Coronation Award. It was in this room here. To see so many people gather from the community for him, it was just so special to see him and the pride in his face. You know, not many of these awards are given out. For someone to come all the way from Ottawa to give this to him, to pay homage to his service, and all the years and decades that he's given to this community. I see it on the street when he's talking to people. I see it when he's talking to staff. I see it when he's talking to his colleagues. I'm so lucky to be sitting next to this gentleman, and to see him get that award was pretty darn special. I'm lucky to be part of this council, and you really are the tip of the iceberg. So
Thank you, sir.
congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. I
Councillor
won't break down again.
Fascio.
Thank you, Your Worship. At the Fraser Valley Regional District, we had an update on their strategic plan 2023-2026, which was held in beautiful Harrison Hot Springs as a retreat, and they're moving forward with the plans that affects the whole area, which is Harrison Hot Springs as well. And plan is structured around 4 key themes: climate and environment, growth management, indigenous relations, and wellness and prosperity. At the July 10th regional district, we had a motion made by the mayor of Mission regarding to the sub-regional animal control service, and they will be coming to council, the FVRD, to do a delegation to discuss how they're going to be assessing the cost of this, because the larger municipalities who pay the largest chunk of the cost of this and how it's established, it's going to be done a little bit differently when it comes forward in the future. So that's something they'll be coming to the village and to discuss with us at an open meeting. The other was the fare review for the Agassiz, Harrison and Hope, and they're going to go with option 3, which option 3 is a very good one for seniors and for the youth. There's no major increases on those fares for them, so that's a good thing. I think we did mention that to them when they came to us as a delegation. The plastics recycling program, that's moving forward again. It's still getting concerned about the amount of plastic that's being thrown into our rivers. And under the Indigenous Relations, the Indigenous Services Canada referral for the First Nations of Hamel in electoral area B, that the Fraser Valley Regional District Board respond to the referral from Indigenous Services Canada by providing a technical comments outlined in staff reports related to the addition of lands at Laidlaw Road and San Elmo Road on their reservation. So that's after they received the letter from Indigenous Service Canada, they're moving ahead with that. And I attended a Zoom meeting, still call them Zoom, I suppose they do, with the Accessible BC Act on June the 26th. And it was on for an hour, and some good speakers there. There was Helen Boyd, Trish Kelly, and Melissa Lyon, who were the consultants. They want to make it easier to identify barriers and work up to larger projects, and that's basically what we're doing on our committee with Christy. And I think we've got a meeting next week, haven't we, on that, or sometime, and how to meaningfully engage members so we can move ahead with progress on these. They seem to be stumped to a certain degree on how much they can really do, but it all comes down, like everything else, to funding. They're of the opinion that committee members should have honorariums, and I agree with that. And communication to the public is going to be more awareness, let the public know, because this Disability Alliance of BC, we have to be now to comply as much as we can from year to year to make everything as easy as we can, so these people with disabilities can enjoy the surroundings, whether it's a park, a trail, a beach, just going to the shops, or just going to a washroom. They're welcome like everybody else. And they're talking about having available research and having an integrative map to indicate what we have in our communities. So that's something I've kept, we should discuss at our meeting. So that was a good meeting. And just to finish off, my fellow councillors have already mentioned, but the 28th and 29th was a Sasquatch weekend. It was a great turnout this year. The first day wasn't too great, there's no rain, but the next day was very warm. About 40 clubs were in attendance. July 1st, as Councillor Jackson mentioned, was a great day, from the pancake breakfast to the fireworks. It was, you couldn't buy a spot on the beach for the fireworks, and the people, I mean, they were just swarming in. A great day for Harrison. Community in Bloom, 8th and 9th, we had a reception at the Woods Park for the judges. Very impressed with the decorations that were put together by the committee, and our own Kaylee, who did an outstanding job. That mirror, oh, boy, I'm going to buy that mirror. Of course, the next day, unfortunately, the weather was wet, but they got around. And then they finished off here at the village office before they left on a little bit of history that was presented from Teresa and myself on the Macpherson House. Friday the 11th was the opening reception at the Arts Centre for the Festival of the Arts, and on Saturday, on behalf of Mayor and Council, because the Deputy Mayor was already involved in Agassiz with the Legion 100th anniversary, I did the opening with my colleague, Councillor Swinebench, Swinebench. My apologies. So you mentioned the medal to me. Everything's gone up the creek. Schweinbenz, my apologies. Stood with me as we welcomed the folks and wished them a very good festive arts. And the 29th July will be the official opening of the primary care centre at 11 a.m. So hope to see you down there, and that will be on our website. Thank you very much, Your Worship. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councillor Facio. Next item is a report from the mayor. On June 17th, I attended a presentation on fraud prevention for seniors that was held at the Rec Center, which was hosted by the RCMP and the Critical Response Network. Huge amount of information came forward, and it was geared towards seniors, and even went into the scams that seniors are falling prey to these days. So I did ask, and it would appear that they're going to be hosting another one later on in the fall. So I would encourage everyone to attend a very worthwhile event. On June 19th, I attended the Health Communities meeting. And as Councillor Schweinbenz indicated, I also had the pleasure of attending the King's Coronation Medal presentation to Councillor Facio for his over 30 years of service to this community. He was surrounded by family and friends, which was only a small amount of the people who know Councillor Facio. And what occurred to me was that theme song from Cheers, you know, where everybody knows your name. And that certainly is Councillor Facio.
Thank you, Your Worship.
On June 28th, I attended also the opening ceremonies of the Sasquatch Day. Once again, council in attendance was honored to be blanketed. And this year, Councillor Facio, we wore a very significant eagle headdress during the procession. So it's always humbling to be honored by Sasquatch during their event, and it was another huge successful event. Again, July 1st, another huge Canada Day in the village. And from what I saw, all events that took place in the village was very well attended. And it certainly was a pleasure to see Mayor Talon and Councillor Schweinben serving up pancakes and fruit at the pancake breakfast. The culmination of events, music and fireworks made for just another wonderful Canada Day. And I want to send my thanks, as Councillor Jackson indicated. I won't go through it again, for all that were involved. July 8th and 9th, I had the pleasure of joining our Communities in Bloom gathering at Woods Park for a meet and greet with our two judges, and to participate in part of the tour the following morning. Well done, Councillor Jackson and Communities in Bloom committee members. Thank you for organizing and chairing this hardworking committee. July 11th, I attended the opening reception along with Councillor Facio at the Ranger Station Art Gallery to kick off the festival. I would encourage everyone to visit the art gallery during the festival. There's some wonderful art on display, and some of it is done by children this year. On July 12th, I attended the 100th anniversary of the Agassiz Legion and offered some remarks on behalf of the village. It was another wonderful event attended by all over. The pipe band played and was joined by other pipe band legions in Maple Ridge, I believe, and in Burnaby. Oh, and my last item, and you'll hear me say this all the way up till September, please mark your dates, the Terry Fox Annual Run and Walk, Sunday, September 14th, here in the village. Registration at 9 o'clock. The run starts at 10 through till noon, and I would encourage everyone to pre-register. You can do that from the Terry Fox Foundation website, and you can even make a donation there also. So that is my report. Oh, all right. Next order of business. Corporate office. Sir, go ahead.
Sure. So we're moving on to item 14, which is reports and minutes from committees and commissions. So the first recommendation there's 3 sets of adopted committee minutes. So the recommendation is that the following adopted minutes be received for information: age-friendly meeting minutes from May 15th, CIB meeting minutes from May 22nd, and environmental advisory meeting minutes from June 4th.
So moved, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion? Councillor Schweinben.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vital. No discussion at all, just a comment. You know, as I read through these pages of the 3 committees, I just can't help but be struck by the quality and the amount of work and ideas and creativity that's going on in these committees. And I don't think we saw that over the last few years. It's just fantastic to see all this really coming to a culmination. These committees are important. I would recommend public get involved in some of these committees if you can, because there's some great work being done here, and I appreciate the quality that I see today in today's report.
Thank you. Anything further? And I'll call a question. All in favor of receipt? Thank you. Next item, report from the corporate officer. Go ahead.
Thank you. On page 59 of your agenda packages, there's a short report from the Environmental Advisory Committee. Just as a bit of an update, the committee's working on hazardous waste collection day, looking for late September or early October, exploring some potential partnering opportunities with that. So an update will be forthcoming. The recommendation is that council approve the following recommendation from the Environmental Advisory Committee: that the WildSafe BC Fraser Valley representative be invited to attend as a delegate at an upcoming regular council meeting to present on ways that the village can improve its Bear Smart practices.
Yeah, mover, Counselor Jackson moved, Counselor Schweinbach seconded. Any discussion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And corporate officer, item E, a report from the committee of the whole.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a little bit of time since the committee of the whole met last month, June 18th. So there were 3 recommendations that were made. The first was to receive the draft Parks and Trail Master Plan. Second was for staff to report back to council with a feasibility study for a temporary off-leash dog park near Spring Park. And that staff be directed to submit a non-farm use application to the ALC for the 1 acre parcel along Coons Drive. And the last recommendation in the report is that the draft anti-racial and anti-discrimination policy be referred to village's legal counsel.
So moved, your worship.
Right, so the recommendation is that we adopt the report, moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. The next order of business is reports from staff. And I'll turn it over to our CAO for his second quarter update.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Hard to believe that we're 3 months further into the year. And as you can see from the list of items that are in this report, a lot of really good things are happening. I'm just going to highlight a few that I would like for council and also the public to focus on. Speaking to what Councillor Schweinbens and Councillor Facio were speaking to regarding emergency routes and whatnot, we're looking at through the Kent Harrison Joint Emergency Planning Committee is we're looking to engage a contractor and enhance our evacuation route, being Hot Springs Road. Also wanted to highlight that the Director of Operations, Corporate Officer, and Community Services Manager continue to work towards their EOC planning and also emergency management training. We also, the village was successful in receiving a $40,000 grant from the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund. Also another $34,835.32 for the operations center equipment. Through the FireSmart lens here, we're going to be highlighting the recommendations in the report that came out of the CWRP. So as the reports you'll see in here, there's a number of recommendations that have been met already, and we'll continue doing that in future reports. From the FireSmart lens, I would like to thank our community services manager for her lengthy hours of putting in this funding application, and we were successful in receiving our $400,000 grant. So that's we'll receive $200,000 per year over the next 2 years, and that will go towards funding training, outfitting the emergency response trailer for the fire department, and then also doing FireSmart work throughout the village. And also would like to highlight that our community services manager has now a certified wildfire mitigation specialist through the FireSmart.
Hey.
And under community services, I would like to speak to the RMI. The draft strategy has been submitted, and we're just working with the province to get that finalized. We launched the Emergency Preparedness Resource Guide, so if anybody's looking for a copy, we have it in our lobby. And we also hosted the Reflections on Belonging, which was an interactive art exhibit in partnership with Food Health and Community Services Immigrant Partnership Program at Memorial Hall. Under communications, we launched a few weeks ago something called Fun Fact Friday on social media, which in an attempt to try and minimize disinformation and misinformation throughout the village, we are taking this opportunity to produce facts for the community, and it has been very well received by both council and the public. So thank you very much for that. As of in this last quarter, there's been 89 Facebook posts. So Kaylee has been very, very busy over there. And believe it or not, the top hit was the Lagoon Beach and area closure. That hit 12,000 views. Under finance, this year we pushed out our property tax notices 2 weeks early in advance of what we thought was going to be a postal strike, and thankfully for us, it actually just meant everybody came in and paid much sooner. So that was a really good result from that. And also the village partnered with CIBC, TD Bank, and BMO to be able to pay online, which made the life at the front desk a lot easier. And also we are in the process of launching our new occupational health and safety program. It's just under review with staff. Eventually we'll be pushing that out. Under corporate services, we got the annual report published, and then also we had 15 committee and commission meetings just in one quarter. So Amanda's been very busy. Under operations, we have I just wanted to highlight the Highway 9 Coombs Drive drainage improvement project. There seems to be some confusion on start dates and what will be happening moving forward. Unfortunately, we're at the mercy of transportation, the Ministry of Transportation and Transit. The communication has been not great. We were expecting them to start today, but in the near future, we'll see them starting on their portion. We have been actively working on our portion of the drainage that will be going just south of Emerald over to McCombs. Also wanted to speak to the dike upgrade. So just as a reminder to council and also the public that staff is working with the consultant to move forward with the detailed design around the wastewater treatment plant, the road in front of the hotel, and also Randall Park. So that is forthcoming to a future meeting. And then also that I want to advise the public that staff is working very hard in trying to find deployable options for the commercial sector. Jace has been putting in countless hours, so I want to thank him. Then also there's been a number of capital projects that came to completion: the boat launch building addition, the beach pump generator, the Miami River Bridge utility location, Miami River Bridge abutments, Village Health Center, and Lift Station 1. Jace has been extremely busy this past spring, so thank you, Jace. Also wanted to speak to under staffing for Public Works is we've hired a temporary fire smart horticulture tech that you'll see out front here in our out front of the village office. The work that has been done, it's quite amazing, and we look forward to seeing future improvements. Under the fire department, they received 42 calls over this last quarter, with 50 SenseNet emails that were checked but required no response from the fire department. As you can see, under planning and development, things are hopping along. We've got lots of applications that are in the process. And finally, I wanted to speak to the waste management bylaw stats that we produced. The challenge that we've had enforcing this is as you can see from the few times that we had our bylaw officer out, and initially we saw some non-compliance, and eventually everybody finally came into compliance. But one thing that I do want to advise council is that we had some extremely angry people at the counter, and I and our receptionist had a gentleman come in, and all he did was receive a letter. It wasn't even a fine, and he was mad enough to be slamming his hands on the desk. And I can tell you, if there wasn't the plexiglass at the front door, I would have probably asked our receptionist to move out of the space that she was in, because the gentleman was extremely angry. And I just want council to know that the change that was made, I recognize it was fully supported by council, but the staff time and effort that it's taken to bring people into compliance hasn't been an easy task. And finally, is for the recommendation is that the Chief Administrator's Officer 2025 second quarter update report dated July 14th, 2025 be received for information. Thank you very much.
So move, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Facio, second by Councillor Schweinbentz. Discussion, please. Councillor Facio?
Yeah, just through you to our CAO, just for clarification, page 66, 67, and 68. 66. Oh. The Lillooet Avenue, any idea that it would be this fall, the start date?
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Facio. So we're working together with the consultant to finalize the plans. It is part of the RDS, and until the RDS is finally adopted by the province, we can't really move forward because the funds haven't been allocated. So as much as we would like to this fall, it perhaps may be put off till next year.
Okay, thank you. And on 67, flood pump assessment ongoing and being integrated with Dyke. What is wrong with the flood pump?
There's nothing wrong with the flood pump. We are just in the process of ensuring that it's meeting current standards. It is functioning as required. It meets the 1894 flood level. We're just ensuring that it's, we're looking at it from a operational and future dike upgrade.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the last one regarding the sensor net calls,
Yes.
did they actually go off?
The
Are they operate, or did they go up to go out although there was no fire department response, but did they go off to, they are working?
I'll refrain from speaking to that because there will be a future report coming.
Oh, okay.
There have been, what I will do is say is that there's been some false alarms and some incidents that have been missed. Since then, when we work with the provider, it seems to have improved. However, there are a number of false positives, so I'll say that.
And I'd just like to finish off, your worship, by thanking our CEO for an outstanding report. This really helps council, when they're asked questions about certain things in the community, and it's a really good report. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Facio. Councillor Schweinbentz.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Vidal. One question, then two comments. Through you to CAO on page 63 under emergency management. I understand that we did a tabletop exercise a couple of months ago, and I'm wondering if we are going to schedule another follow-up one for the fall. If that might be on the.
Through your worship, to Councillor Schweinbentz, absolutely. That is the plan. The schedule unfortunately doesn't allow it throughout the summer because there's a lot of people that are away, but we are definitely looking into September, October for another mock EOC activation.
Okay. And then secondly, on page 69, just around bylaw enforcement. I had an opportunity to travel with our bylaw officer a couple of times and to speak to a lot of residents about this Bear Smart issue, and I can appreciate that being the first year was probably very difficult on staff. I know that corporate officer Amanda had to write probably hundreds of letters of warning. And there was a lot of follow-up to be required. There was a lot of grumbling from a few residents, but I can tell you that a lot of residents really appreciate it. They appreciate the effort. And it may not be making a big difference, but it signifies that as a community, we're understanding that there's a problem. We've made some mistakes this year. We're learning. It's the first year, but I'm sorry that you had that incident, whoever had that incident with that one resident, but I can tell you that most people really appreciate the effort that staff is doing. And that brings me to my last comment, and that is I see these 8 pages of the report as just a fantastic testament to your leadership, CAO, to your leadership of the staff. We have a very small skeleton staff here. And if I look at all the things that are done here, there's just so much meat, so much quality here. And I'm very appreciative, and I know the community is appreciative. So thank you to staff and to you, CAO.
Councillor Jackson, do you have anything to offer?
It's all been said, Your Worship.
Okay.
I appreciate everything.
All right, I just have a couple of questions. If someone could enlighten me on what a variable frequency drives for a bioreactor blowers at the wastewater treatment plant.
MacGyver.
Please.
Do you want to take that or do you want me to take that?
You can go for that one.
Basically, the variable drive is a system that is it gears up and slows down. It's not hard on, hard off. Those systems are just meant. What it does is extends the lifespan of the equipment. We have them in our water treatment plant. We have in our wastewater treatment plant as well.
Thank you. Under fire department, to a CAO, and I appreciate it if you're in a position where you're not comfortable to answer this question. You indicated that there was going to be a report coming forward, but I know that there has in the past been some false, and that, as you indicated, you worked with the provider. Those 50 cents a net calls, does that require somebody to actually go and attend from the fire department? To like actually go in and, you know, say, oh, there's no fire here? Okay.
Yeah, so essentially the response plan from the fire department is if there is a signal and it's identified as being inside the village, they do, one of the officers will respond.
Okay.
A number of the false positives, and I say false positive, is that it didn't require any response from the fire department, was smoke up the lake from cabins. So it's not saying that it isn't functioning.
Okay.
But so yes, it does require response from the fire department if it is within the village boundaries. And to date, there has been no, no fire in the sector or anything like that if it picked up smoke there.
Okay. And when the fire department, an officer is required to attend, is that considered a call out for them?
Yes, there would be. It's not a full deployment with full truck and members. It's just to be one of the officers. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And I would also like to just say how unfortunate it was that there was an incident at our front counter regarding the new bylaw. During my, walking around and whatever, and I heard nothing but positive things from residents, and it would appear now that the bears have gone, and I believe it's probably because the food source is now available to them, either in the east sector or up on some of our mountains. change is very difficult for some people. Myself, at my home, we are first on the route, which starts at 7 o'clock. So, you know, either myself or my husband set our alarm for 6:50 in the morning to get up and put our garbage down at the bottom of it. And we're happy, absolutely happy to do it. So it will be interesting to see next year if we have those same habitual bears that do return. Fingers crossed, hopefully not. So
The bears, your worship, are very happy. They have food now because they took all those garbage cans that were left out the night before.
yeah. Okay, could I then have a mover and seconder for the recommended count? Yeah,
We have a mover and second.
we do have a move, thank you. Then any further discussion? Then I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And next order of business. A corporate officer, go ahead.
Thank you. Last year, council received a copy of a report produced by Kamloops City staff regarding the costs of the municipality that can arise from provincial or federal government level policy changes. Village staff conducted a review to determine whether the village has also experienced an increase in cost. The Kamloops report is very detailed. There's quite a bit of information in my report that I won't read out here this evening, but just as a high level summary, while the village has not been entirely unaffected by higher level policy changes, these costs have largely been offset by grant funding for the most part. A few things that are an exception to this would of course be fire department responding to medical calls, the employer health tax, and then permitting delays that can contribute to inflationary costs for capital projects. Unknown costs associated with changes to housing and emergency management legislation are yet to be determined. But for the most part, I worked in conjunction with our chief financial officer on this report. And for the most part, we are not facing the same types of larger scale social issues that some larger municipalities have to, that feel financial impacts facing those challenges. So the recommendation is that the report be received for information.
Thank you. Could I have a mover and seconder then? Moved by Councillor Schweinman, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Any discussion? Councillor Schweinman.
Sorry, not sure who to ask this, maybe through you, Deputy Mayor Vidal to CAO. Under the emergency health services and opioids, a couple things struck out here, and that is that our fire department is doing more medical calls than anything else. Are we able to offload that to the BC ambulance service? Like my understanding is that the BC ambulance service is quite spread thin, and we're relied on our local fire department to attend calls, and it could be an hour or two before an ambulance comes. Are we working with the BC ambulance service to try and ameliorate this issue at all? Sorry.
I'll comment first. Thank you. That's historically been the way, and you know, my background here in Harrison, there is an ambulance station in Agassiz. However, it is not staffed 24/7. If there is a medical call, what happens is dispatch will find the closest unit and dispatch them. So you're right, it could take an hour, hour and a half. Our fire department are trained to a high level as first respond and first aid, not quite to the level of ambulance, but close. So CAO, do you want to offer your comments?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Your Worship. That would be held at the, dealing with those challenges would be held at the provincial level. We are, all we're doing is responding to the need of the community. If BC Ambulance, quite often BC Ambulance will attend in conjunction with our team to complement each other, and then we'll pass it off, our team will pass it off to BC Ambulance once they respond. But certainly, there's no question that, yeah, I think every community is dealing with on some level is the lack of resources. So to answer your question is that the municipality is not actively working towards trying to deal with that situation. It would be held at the provincial level.
Okay. And if I may, Madam Chair, just to follow up, my second comment was with regards to the opioid overdoses. It says here that the village is not listed by the province as having any overdose calls in the last 8 years. I find this surprising because I'm hearing through our community members that we've lost 3 people in their mid-20s in the last couple of years to opioid overdoses. In fact, one happened on McCombs just a couple months ago, and our fire department attended that call. It's an issue that the public needs to be aware of, politicians need to be aware of. To Councillor Jackson's point, this has to be done at the federal level. It's a scourge in our society. It's here locally. There are drug dealers in Agassiz. We know that. And we are local politicians. We don't have anything to do about it, but I think it's an issue that that we need to raise with the provincial and federal governments going forward. So.
Councillor Brasco?
Thank you, Worship. Just a brief comment on as Councillor Jackson and myself attending many UBCM, and I think, I don't know how many years, maybe 10, 12 years now, this issue of first it used to be the RCMP or police officer would have to spend so many hours at a hospital with a patient, mental patient, whatever the case may be, and they have to sit there until the doctor can see that. So there's tremendous burden to the taxpayers of the communities. I mean, it involves the city more than it involves us, I know, but that's been an issue that hasn't been resolved. It's still a great loss to the communities. The amount of time a policeman should be out on the road doing protective services, but he has to sit in an emergency so the doctor can see that patient, then he can leave. The same thing with the fire departments. The regional district forwarded last year a letter regarding a situation where the fire. Now remember, the regional district has about 9 fire departments that it comes under them. That the cost, as you just pointed out, Councillor, to the municipalities of the call-outs by the fire departments. But there's nothing at the moment that can be done. But I would suggest that as we do have an appointment to visit, if we do get the appointment with the health minister, we should add that to the agenda in regards to call-outs and how they're going to address it. I mean, there's a shortage of ambulance people, so thank God we have our fire department who are trained up to a certain level. They're out there, but virtually every weekend. It's sometimes, most cases, it's heart attacks or whatever. But I know there's always a frequent call to one of the condominiums on the front street there, from the fire department till the ambulance service arrives. So it's an ongoing issue. It's something that CEO just said. It's a provincial. It's something that we can do other than lobby the minister ourselves, or it's too late now, or put a resolution, another resolution into UBCM over the same situation. It's I hear you, and I feel, you know, for the residents, the taxpayers who have to pay their taxes towards unnecessary call-outs. But thank God, as I say, we have a fire department, or all our fire departments that are trained in at least looking after the folks till the ambulance gets there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Well, just one little comment, Your Worship. This issue is so huge. If the government can't even begin to figure it out, how can we? This is way, way beyond just what we're talking about here. The whole system was crumbling before our eyes. And so I guess the best thing we can do when we go to Victoria to allow them to say, you gotta get your act together if we can do that. Because it's not, 20 years ago we heard about this. And here we are now, we've come no further on it, except we're doing more. So downloading has become symptomatic of passing the buck. That's what they're doing. So we're gonna have to take that tact. So thank you for listening to me.
I just have a question to our CAO. Do we every year enter into an agreement with BC Ambulance on what calls the fire department will attend? Like what medical calls, or is it at the discretion of BC Ambulance?
That is a great question. I don't have that answer, unfortunately.
All right, okay, thank you. Okay, then nothing further. I'll call the question then. All in favor of the recommendation? Thank you. Item C, over to our corporate officer again. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a report regarding the relocation of the public works yard. Over the last year, council has undertaken the process of developing a master plan for this area. And most recently, at the April 17th Committee of the Whole meeting, council adopted the Civic Lands Master Plan and requested that staff report back to council on the cost and feasibility of moving the public works yard and pursuing community partnerships. Although council did not endorse any of the 3 options listed in the Civic Lands Master Plan or the Village Lands Master Plan, all 3 options would require that the public works yard be relocated. On page 78, you'll see a map. This was used because it's one that shows the area. This is actually from Harrison Recreation Sites and Trails BC, the province's website. The blue area is what I'm referring to. In previous years, between 2008 and 2016, the village had an investigative use permit granted by the province over, which is approximately 4 hectares of land there, and conducted some studies to try and determine whether it would be feasible to move the public works yard to that location. And ultimately, they decided not to pursue that at the time. Of note, the area is also located within the ALR and is the site of the previous village landfill, which was opened in the 1950s. In 1983, it was closed to the public and the village began the process of formally abandoning it. And in 2023, the village was advised by the Ministry of Environment that all abandonment conditions had been met. The village is currently exploring a partnership for a proposed joint project between Agassiz Harrison Community Services, Terra Purpose Real Estate, and the Nerdy Architect, who recently presented at a regular council meeting. The project is in the early stages, but the idea is to move public works at some point in the future. The grant funding for the seniors housing project has a short timeline, and with the initial application later this month, if the public works yard does need to be relocated to accommodate the project, the village should start to explore options to facilitate this, as it can take quite some time to get these applications through the various ministries and potentially the ALR or ALC at some point in the future. The location where the previous landfill was, the conditions of abandonment were met on the basis that it would be a naturalized park. And so the staff reached out to the consultant who prepared that environmental assessment report, and the recommendation was to continue some environmental assessments to determine whether any remedial efforts would be required to make the site usable for a public works yard. The cost of an investigative use license application is $500 and can be funded through existing budget. And the recommendation is that staff be authorized to submit an application for an investigative use license to the province for the land described as that part of the east half of the southeast quarter of Section 12, Township 4, Range 29, west of the 6th Meridian, New Westminster District, that is not part of the Harrison Recreation Site, to pursue the possibility of moving the village's public works yard to that location.
Thank you.
The recommendation, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Discussion, Councillor Facio?
Thank you, your worship. Just one question for, on McPherson. Back in, a few years ago, they extended the water line and right down to the corner of McPherson and Balsam there. But I noticed the weekend looking at a manhole down there, which says, for the sewer system, that it's got the city of Chilliwack on it. Hell, that's, I don't know, but there is a sewer system by the looks of it down. I didn't realize it went that far down, the sewer system. But anyway, the other thing is, that's fine, go for the permit and all that. I think it's probably going to take a while before there's any movement on the workshop. It's been discussed for many years, but I am personally concerned, and I would like to see it moving ahead, that at our next meeting, if we could come forward with a decision. It looks like from the survey and the open houses that 41 or 47% of the public went for option 2 for the new design of the open space to my left here. And well, what I'm trying to say is this workshop situation could take some time, knowing how long it takes the province to issue permits and look into and assess it and make sure that it's safe for people to work there, that we could change the location on the map of where the seniors block was going to go, alternate either with the rental and office space and do it that way. I don't want to see this project being held up unnecessarily because it says part of that seniors is going to be in that workshop. Well, we could change the where the we could have the office block being on Miami River Drive. We could have the seniors there and put the office block facing Hot Springs Road. So I think that could be changed around. So what I'm asking is, how soon could we have a decision on? It looks like there's been a number 2 out of the 3 to move ahead and get the plan, and also have a discussion on moving, not concentrating so much on the workshop. Yes, for a workshop removal, but not to hold it up because that part of the workshop would be for a portion or all of the seniors' housing. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm asking the staff if they could come back with a date, would it be the next council meeting or committee of the whole, whichever works out, when the mayor gets back, to bring that forward. So we're going to have a hearty discussion and make a decision. We've got some 14 months left of our term on this council, and I would like to see, and I'm sure the other councillors, I'm not sure about them, but I would like to see it moving forward. We've had a good delegation from the community services from that regard, and that's great if that moves forward on that portion. All we have to concentrate is on the other block and the village office and the recreation portion of it, and the rest. I did say months ago we should phase this in. We cannot do everything. We don't have the money for it, and it can be phased in, but at least let's make a start. So we can go. There's a lot of folks in our community, even up to this weekend, they're asking, Leo, I want to stay in Harrison. I don't want to leave Harrison, but I have to downsize. And I think it's important now that we do something. So that's what I'm asking. I know that's not part of the recommendation, but do you want me to make a, no, it's just a direction to staff, good enough?
Through you, Deputy Mayor Riddle, to Councillor Facio. Yeah, I think Tyson would probably echo my sentiment. Staff are working full speed ahead on the Terra housing. So this is one piece of it. And if that does not take place or we can't move it in time, that's something we're going to have to look at and adjust based off of that. Just for council's knowledge, we did meet with them today. And so I think staff's completely aware of council wanting to make sure that that project pushes forward, or at least we have something before the July 31st deadline for your council's consideration. So yes, these things take time. Hopefully we can find a plan for the public works yard. This is one potential option at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Steinmetz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Couple questions with regards to our current works yard, maybe for you, Operations Manager Jace. What is the size of it exactly? That's my first question. And is there any potential environmental contamination that's left over that we have to deal with when we move it?
Yeah, to your worship, so I have to look for sure on the sizing, but it's approximately just under 1 acre. It's our current size, including the public works building and the gravel area that we use. As for environmental, as part of the Terra housing investigations, they do have environmental who was looking into any kind of remediation work that'd be needed and sort of doing investigation with groundwork too for geotechnical.
There's no tanks that we're aware of, gas tank. The comment that I had, and I'm supportive of the motion. I'm just concerned about the East sector, to be totally honest with you. We've got here a potential study area of 4 hectares. I don't know what that is. I'm not a math guy, but I think that's a lot of acres. And, we're looking to replace 1 acre here beside us. And I would hate to see I know this is not our intention, but I would hate to see 4 hectares of that natural environment altered in some way, either deforested or that sort of thing, okay? Because when you add in the potential dog park area for off leash, which again, I hope is not deforested just for the dogs. So I'm just concerned about death by 1,000 cuts when it comes to the East sector, and especially when we're looking at a potential Frisbee golf facility. So that would be my only concern about this. I'm supportive of the study. Let's get going on it. But I hate to see us deforest much of that blue zone at all. Sorry.
Theo?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, through you to Councillor Schweinben. So, 4 hectares is roughly 10 acres. We have no intent of occupying 10 acres for a works yard. All we would be wanting to occupy is something similar to what we have, if not maybe a little bit larger. If it's going to accompany other uses, then we'll explore that. But at this stage, all we're wanting to get permission to do is make the application, and then in future, we'll be coming back to council once we get an idea of what the scope of the work for the environmental investigation will be. But ultimately, this is just like we're looking for multiple options for relocation of the works yard, because we all know that I think Councillor Jackson said it 1,000 times if he hasn't already, about they're not making any more land. We're just trying to find the best use for the current location of the works yard, and look at maximizing the space, the footprint that it is actually occupying right now.
Thank you.
Councillor Jackson?
Thank you, Worship. When we originally looked at this, like 206, 207, we had gone to Victoria and talked to them, and they sent a gentleman out, and Councillor Fascio was there, and myself was there, and we walked the site because it had been a garbage dump. I didn't know that before, but I was told. And they basically said to us, this site is perfect, you could even pave over it, no trouble. So we were flying high. Now, what happens in government, of course, is they change ministers. So the file that got up near the top must have gone right back down to the bottom, and it disappeared. And we had to move on. We just had to move on as a council. So I think it's an ideal situation to have it here. You have water, sewer. It's good, and we need the land here. I'm certainly in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson. I'll offer a few comments. I am in support of the recommendation, and I think that this decision is more than just about land use. We have, I believe, an opportunity to potentially transform a space that is currently our works yard into something that serves a community-based purpose. And we as council have the responsibility to look ahead and make decisions on the best needs of our community both now and in the future. As Councillor Jackson has said many times, municipal land is one of our most valuable assets, and we need to use it wisely. We can always find a new location for the works yard, but finding a safe, affordable place to live should not be impossible for our seniors. Tourism may bring visitors to our village, but the seniors who live here, age here, have requested for years some type of seniors housing. So with that, I'm going to ask the question either to our CAO or to our corporate officer. If the works yard was permitted to move up to McPherson, would we need an environmental assessment where the works yard is now in order for construction there? Does any?
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe Jace already indicated that through this process with XCR's Community Services and BC Housing, they're doing a risk assessment and they're doing an environmental
Thank you.
investigation of the current property. Now, that may expand, but currently we're expecting results. As Amanda had indicated, we had a meeting today and they're expecting that report to be completed by the end of the week. So for all intents and purposes, we're not aware of any issues at this time.
Thank you. Yeah, and the reason I asked the question is I want to minimize any delays in moving the project forward. So, and again, the recommendation is only for the request for the investigative use. It's not to formally ask to move the public works yard. It's, am I correct, corporate officer?
Yeah, thank you. It's very early on in the process, and it's possible that either the province wouldn't approve a subsequent lease application, or probably the larger hurdle would be the ALC. There is also potential for funding, as it could be considered a brownfield site by the province because of the previous landfill. And there are some programs that support revitalizing those sites and making them into places that support a community, such as a public works yard or things of that nature. But the ALC does look at historical use of the land as well. So there's a lot of unknowns at this moment. And like you say, it's very, very early on in the process. And this is just to allow us to conduct some more environmental assessments on this.
Thank you. Anything further? Then I'll call the question on the recommendation. All in favor? Thank you. Next item is a report from the Community Services Manager. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. The current village office, known as the McPherson House, was built in approximately 1888 and later donated by the Chenasik family to the village in 1979. That same year, it was designated as a municipal heritage building by Heritage Designation Bylaw number 339/1979 under the authority of the 1977 Heritage Conservation Act. Heritage conservation by local governments is now addressed by Part 15 of the Local Government Act. Section 611(3)(a) of the LGA states that the exterior of a heritage building must not be altered except as authorized by a heritage alteration permit issued under Section 617. So in 2024, the village's local Fire Smart representative conducted comprehensive assessments of all the village's municipal buildings, including the village office. Following this, the village completed its community wildfire resiliency plan, which included the following recommendation: to complete Fire Smart activities on the village office as recommended by the critical infrastructure assessment to serve as a public demonstration. This CWRP recommendation, item number 7, was ranked as high priority. Siding is vulnerable when it ignites and when embers get into the cavity behind the siding. FireSmart guidelines recommend replacing combustible siding with non-combustible or ignition-resistant siding material. Also in 2024, village staff observed areas of siding that were rotting and in need of replacement, along with visible areas where the paint is chipped or faded. Due to these observations, village office renovations were included in the 2025 financial plan. So the village has included $30,000 in its 2025 financial plan to support exterior upgrades on the village office. Once we began looking at not just repairing the wood siding, but looking to upgrade to a more fire smart resilient material, we discovered that the costs would exceed that. So what staff are proposing is to combine with some FireSmart grant funding that had already been allocated through the successful FireSmart grant. And according to our purchasing and procurement policy, after our one initial quotation for the scope of work we're looking for, we will be seeking a minimum of 2 others. Attached to the report, there are some photos of the current state of the siding, as well as the stairs at the, looking right out the window here, as well as a fact sheet from FireSmart Canada about siding and the issues with vinyl, along with the current one that we have, which is wood. Our team has also provided a draft of what a heritage alteration permit may look like. So there are 3 recommendations that I will read through. So the first is that council issue a heritage alteration permit pursuant to section 617 of the Local Government Act to the Village of Harrison Hot Springs to remove and replace the existing siding and soffits and to supply and install new exterior stairs and aluminum railing at the village office located at 495 Hot Springs Road, legally described as Lot 8, Block 2, of fractional section 13, Township 4, Range 29, west of the 6th Meridian, New Westminster District Plan 9786. And that changes to the exterior of the village office be completed with a focus on increasing wildfire resiliency through FireSmart principles. And that staff be authorized to increase the capital expenditures village office renovations budget for 2025 by an additional $20,000 to be funded by the FireSmart grant to complete the exterior office renovations to FireSmart standards.
Great. Thank you. Could I have a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinitz. Discussion, please. Councillor Facio.
Just one question through your worship to Community Services Manager. So the budgeted is that much in the budget?
30,000.
30 plus the 20, so 50,000 to do the project, is that correct?
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Facio. That budget line, I believe, was for a few other items as well as the
Okay.
exterior. That's just what the budget name is called.
Was there any considerations given to apply to the Heritage Conservation Society of BC for grant funding?
Thank you. Through you to Councillor Facio. Throughout this process was when we discovered, when our corporate officer discovered the heritage designation bylaw. They don't typically, I don't believe, support grant applications to changes to the heritage exterior. But it's definitely something that I can look further into just to be sure we're not missing any opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Schweinitz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to CAO. Couple questions. This seems to be a no-brainer. My understanding, if you can confirm it, all of our long-term plans that we're talking about with this site here include keeping this building.
Yes.
Through the future, either repurposed in some way. We're keeping this building. It's going to go through another few generations, we hope. So it seems to make some sense to invest in this. I'm a little bit concerned about the $20,000. What is the opportunity cost? Are we taking it away from another department, as an example, to redo our siding? Are we?
I'm going to direct that to
Yeah.
our Community Services Manager.
Thank you, your worship, through you to Councillor Schweinitz. So that $20,000 was allocated for the category was village office, or sorry, just village Fire Smart projects through the Fire Smart grant.
Okay,
So the original budget was through general taxation, I believe. I'd have to double check that with our CFO, what was originally in the plan. And so we're just going to be bumping it up with some of our Fire Smart grant funds.
okay. So just to confirm, we're not taking it away from funding for hoses or hydrants or that sort of thing?
No, the grant application budget is fairly specific on where we proposed to the province that we will be spending the funds.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, are we gonna try and maintain the horizontal look of the siding, so it still maintains that heritage look the way it was intended in 130 years ago? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, through you, your worship. The intent is to keep the look of the building very similar with respect to the horizontal and vertical lines. It's just about replacing the siding with perhaps hardy board.
Yeah.
As is more fire resistant. And then also perhaps, I believe in the report it states replacing the railings with aluminum railings, like remove the wood. Replacing them with aluminum.
Thank you.
Councillor
Can I
Fresco?
choose the colours for my retirement?
Are you retired?
Are you retired?
House? Oh, joke, it's a joke.
Councillor Jackson, did you have anything to add? All right.
Motion on the motion.
Just a few comments that I have is, well, we all know that the long-term goal is to construct a new village office, certainly to better meet the needs of the village and especially our staff. The reality is that would require extensive funding. So until this council or a future council is in a position to move forward with it, the existing office needs to be functional and safe. Although we may not be ready to break ground yet on a new village building, I do believe that we have a duty to manage and authorize the repairs. Let's keep in mind that we also host visitors in the village office, and that includes other levels of government officials. So I certainly support the recommendation. So if there's nothing further, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. All right, and next order of business. Mr. Cossey, over to you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, this is dealing with 442 Littlewood Avenue, a rezoning and redesignation amendment. The applicant is looking to rezone their lot from R3 small lot to C1 village commercial and to redesignate the current official community plan designation from medium density residential to village center. Before we go any further, I'd just like to comment that we did look at this application once before. We were in the process of setting up a public hearing, and the applicant has indicated that they wanted to go to a full scale commercial operation, not just what was written on their application for commercial use business and professional office. So as I mentioned, prior to this happening, the applicant indicated that they did not want a C1 zone that is limited to only legal and notary purposes, but rather they require the entire permitted uses of the C1 zone. Options were discussed with or set up with the applicant are outlined further in this report. The site is currently zoned R3 residential small, and the immediate property adjacent to it is also zoned R3. Outside of this, the eastern properties are zoned as R2, and Spring Park is located along the southern portion of the boundary. Located on the site is a single-family dwelling that was constructed in 2018. The site is fully serviced and is approximately 0.15 acres. And then we've got all the different denominations for those that follow the hectares. So what we did when we were looking at this now, changing it from an R3 to a full-scale commercial zone, there's various impacts that happen because of this. There's impacts when you change things from one use to another use. But overall, we looked at the economic impacts where you could talk about the increase in the property values, the boost to the local economy. We looked at some of the social impacts where we're looking at changes to the community dynamics, access to the amenities, the environmental impacts, potential for sustainable design. And also we were looking at some of the planning considerations. And this includes community engagement, infrastructure upgrades, increased traffic and noise, and access to the site. This is very, very important because at this particular point in time, the access to the site is just by easement. And this was signed by the province with the landowner a number of years ago. And an easement is technically not physical or legal access to the site, but it's just basically between the two parties, and one of the parties can say, we don't want this anymore. And this is not a good way to set up a commercial operations where you can have the doors slammed shut because something happens. For a home-based business, doesn't seem to be a problem. The concerns that staff have with this development application are as follows. If the full-scale C1 commercial uses are approved, this could be seen as a commercial creep into the residential area. Other issues include the potential location of the required on-site parking stalls and access to the site for commercial operations such as a pub or a retail establishment, and the servicing requirements to change it from a residential use to a full-scale commercial use. So as I mentioned earlier, there were some options that were applicable in setting up the lot for commercial uses limited to business and professional office. Even though that was what the requirement was on the application, the applicant has indicated that they do not want that. They want full commercial operations. But prior to this, we talked about setting up a home occupation, and that was not acceptable. So then we put the limited commercial use bylaw in front of council. And as we were going through the public hearing process, we were told that the limited commercial uses was also not acceptable to the applicant, which is fine, because that's their prerogative. So the options available to council at this point in time is that we have an amended zoning amendment bylaw 1226/2025 with the clauses limiting the commercial use of this lot to business and professional offices only has been removed, thereby providing for full commercial use of this property. If council determines that there is merit in moving this project forward with the applicant's request for all permitted commercial uses, council may wish to rescind first and second reading and reread the bylaw as amended. Council may also want to consider requesting the applicant to set up a public notification meeting as per section 11 of the development procedures bylaw, and we've done this many times in the past. An amendment to the draft OCP amendment bylaw number 1227/2025, as it appears when it was given first and second reading, is not required to be part of this updated application. So with that, your worship, we're recommending that council not approve the full C1 commercial uses at 442 Littlewood Avenue due to the following concerns. On-site parking and access to the site is currently by the use of an easement, potential changes to the neighborhood dynamics, and the site is serviced for residential purposes and not for large-scale commercial uses. And having said that, is available, the applicant is available to answer any questions or to talk about her application further.
Thank you, Mr. Cossey. Could I have a mover and seconder for the recommendation for discussion? Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinbenz. Discussion, please. Councillor Schweinbenz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering if at this point it'd be appropriate to ask the applicant to maybe let council know what the intentions are for use of the facility. Maybe you can fill us in as to what you'd like to see there, if that's okay, if council approves. Would you like to?
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair, Deputy Mayor. the screen.
Sure.
You got your votes, I can proceed?
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
great, yeah, thank you, Counselor. I would just like to start off by saying my apologies about the miscommunication here with the planning consultant. My community in northern Manitoba has been under an evacuation order since May 28th, and so some of our communication was not all captured properly. So I'm going to say that I would prefer if you ignored most of what is in that application, because that's clearly not my intent. So I have a few points. My property is at 442 Lillooet Avenue, and there was a zoning amendment bylaw, 1228-2025, that was applied for. The modification would include a space now for a vacation rental so that I may add work retreats and small focus groups with accommodations that would be classified as short-term vacation rentals. So my original application was filed in January of 2025, requesting a proposed mixed commercial use for business and professional office. I had asked for rezoning from R3 to C1 in my original application. When it was read first and second time, there was a limitation placed in it by the planning department and approved by council here with the commercial limitation allowing only illegal operation and notary services. But what I had wanted to add to my application was a clause granting me the right to have vacation rentals so that I can do small group work retreats out of my residential property in conjunction with my legal work. I know that across the street, have a block down, Lillooet does have C1 zoning in existence already, and that my original application supported the official community plan in a variety of ways. First off, I'm a First Nation lawyer. I practice in Harrison Hot Springs, and I can provide professional services that do not yet exist near the Village Center C1 commercial area. I've been a lawyer for 17 years. I'm licensed both in BC and Manitoba, which I have mentioned, that's where I originally have come from. I moved to 442 Lillooet in January of 2025, and that's when I submitted my original application into Mr. Cossey. And my intent is more aligned with your next agenda item, which is also a request for a zoning amendment, bylaw number 1228-2025. That's at 856 Hot Springs Road. Their intention is to bring some cultural elements to their property to accommodate an Airbnb or vacation rental, pottery studio, and a small store. So really, this is my intention. That's what I had in mind, more in line with my application request. I really apologize to all of you, Deputy Mayor and councillors, staff, for taking up some time to clear up this confusion. The council report with the summary and background goes into lengthy detail about impacts and planning considerations which do not appropriately capture the nature of my business intention. So I am happy to clarify this. I'm asking if you would consider an additional limitation to the zoning bylaw amendment to include the potential use of a vacation rental, my professional offices, and the purpose of this is that I would again like to include my business professional offices with the ability to have overnight accommodations, like a work style retreat for small groups. In my residential home, I have over 4,000 square feet of space, and I have 2 stalls on the outside of my property as well as a 2-car garage. So I have the ability to park 4 cars. I do ask Mayor and Council to consider this friendly amendment to my original application. And again, apologize for taking up your time and clearing up the confusion. And if I may, there is on the 856 Hot Springs Road, sub 2A, there's Schedule A, and they're asking for residential 2 zone to neighborhood commercial C2. So whichever Deputy Mayor, your council sees fit to make that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion, please. Councilor Fasi.
Thank you. If I may ask Mr. Cossey, can the bylaw be changed so we have some control that would only be for a professional business and just only Airbnb? and nothing else would be allowed on the premises?
Yes, your worship, we can do that. And at this point in time with this new information, I would recommend that we defer this back to staff for further discussions with the applicant, so that we can bring back all of this information in a new bylaw.
I agree with you, Mr. Cossey, given the presentation and a little bit of clarification. I do think it's best that we refer back to staff, and Mr. Cossey and staff can work with you once again, and to bring something back to council that maybe perhaps better reflects it. Would you agree, Mr. Cossey?
Yes, your worship, I would.
Okay, thank you.
Just one further comment, your worship, this is for the proponent. I know you say you have availability of 4 parking stalls, but if you're gonna have little retreats, and there could be more cars and you have a allocation for, and my concern is, as Mr. Cossey says, although the easement's been there for donkey's years, it was originally given for a gentleman just to park his RV at the back there. But anyway, that's all in place, but it's very unusual to have traffic in and out of a park area, which Spring Park is a park. So that's my one, is the actual amount of parking, but I'll wait for the staff to come back with another, after they've discussed this with you further. That's why I asked the question, can that be specified as pointed out to us? That's all, for that reason, because we are dealing with another one further on, very similar in some way to that. Thank you, your worship.
Welcome.
If I may, Mayor? Good evening, Mayor. Just to respond to that, Councillor Cascio, and thank you for the question. That easement in the back, I have no intention whatsoever to use that for parking. I don't use it at all. I know it's there, and that's something that maybe the Mayor and Council on our next iteration we need to discuss. I would prefer to actually take some of my lawn out, and I can provide an additional parking space because I have lots of lawn. Thank you.
Corporate officer, I guess we need a motion to refer back to staff, moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Schweinbenz. Any discussion on that motion, Councillor Schweinbenz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, the words in conjunction with legal work, I'm supportive of that. There's people who are involved in pottery, and they have pottery workshops or yoga workshops, and they have people stay over for the weekend. And I think this is very similar to that. I'd be very supportive of rewording this and redesignating this with those intentions in mind. And I just love the fact that we're the kind of council that we're approachable tonight, and I appreciate that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
No, thank you.
Then I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cossey, you're up again for 856 Hot Springs Road.
Thank you, your worship. The applicant is looking to rezone their lot at 856 Hot Springs Road from R2 residential to C2 neighborhood commercial. The application is required as the applicant wishes to set up a commercial operation to accommodate an Airbnb, a pottery studio, tea room, and a small store. The intent is to bring Chinese cultural elements to this property and proposed development. On the next page, 96, you can see the location of it with the map. The site is currently zoned R2, and the immediately north property adjacent is also zoned R2. The southern property boundary is adjacent to a parcel zoned R2 and one zoned E1 community. Access across Hot Springs Road, the properties are zoned R1, R2, R3, and C2. Located on the site is a single family dwelling that was constructed in 1955 and is approximately 1.5 stories in height. The site is fully serviced and is approximately 1.403 acres in size. As per the village's OCP bylaw, the site is located within the area designated as density residential. The current designation does work for this type of use within this designation as per section 7.2F, which indicates the following. Consider careful designed neighborhood commercial designation in the southern portion of the municipality, which provides for daily and occasional shopping needs for the adjacent area. This site is also located within the greenhouse fire emissions development permit area, the geotech hazard area, and the interface wildfire development permit area. As there will be some renovations and additions to the building, we can implement the development permit requirements at either the building permit stage or as a condition of final approval of the zoning amendment bylaw if applicable. With respect to on-site parking, there's been no actual size of the gross floor area for the business portion has been identified with the application, but the following regulations will be followed. 1 parking space for every 28 square meters of the business area, 1 space for each Airbnb space. Also, the applicant has, as per section 6 of the zoning bylaw, they have the ability to secure the required parking spaces through the use of an off-site parking agreement, but that comes back to council for final approval. On their application, the applicant has indicated that they have a space for 5 cars in their front yard. With respect to the fact that there's right adjacent to a public or a landlocked park area, there may be some requirements down the road that the public may want to have access to that. We can deal with that as a condition of if it goes to a public hearing, we can look at it as a condition that they provide access to that park through an easement or some other sort of arrangement. So we have that flexibility, but it's not at this particular point in time. That's a step that's further down the road. So with that, we're seeing, your worship, that zoning amendment bylaw number 1228/2025 be introduced and be given first reading, and that zoning amendment bylaw number 1228/2025 be given second reading, and that staff be authorized to schedule a public hearing for zoning amendment bylaw number 1228/2025, and that zoning amendment bylaw number 1228/2025 be referred to the village's fire department and the Ministry of Transportation and Transit.
So moved, your worship.
All right, I believe that, and can you clarify, corporate officer, that there's no discussion on first reading? It's simply calling the question. So regarding be introduced and given first reading, could I have a motion or a mover and a seconder for that, please?
I move that.
You move that, Councillor Facio, Councillor Scheinben. So, all right, then I'll call the question on first reading. All in favor? Thank you. Corporate officer, can we, would you like all of the other recommendations done individually, or can we can do them together? Okay. Then could I have a mover and seconder for second reading? Authorization for a public hearing and to be referred to the village's fire department and Ministry of Transportation.
So
Moved by Councillor Schweinben, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Thank you. And now discussion. Councillor Facio.
Thank you, your worship. Through you to Mr. Cossey, 2 questions. Does this area being on the west side need a geotech?
Yes, because there's a part of the property,
It's not down as part of the report.
that's the hazard.
Is that there somewhere on this, Ken? I missed
Did
it?
I miss it?
I see it.
Have I missed it?
Geotech hazard.
Yep, he did indicate that.
Oh, okay. And also, I don't think we can implement the development permit requirements, either the building permit state or as a condition that the final approval of the zoning, whichever works out, but I think we have to know for sure how many parking spots are required.
Yes,
Because I think, as far as I know, as of this point, unless council has changed their mind, we're not in favour of off-street parking.
yes, that will be, as I mentioned, we don't have the actual gross floor area arrangement yet, but that will be flushed out through
Okay.
this process.
Okay, thank you, worship.
Councillor Schwanger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I might have missed, sorry, through you to Mr. Cosson. I might have missed your comment about easement. And I understand that future councils may really appreciate some access to the land that's there for something. We don't know. And we're gonna be able to deal with something like that later on, or
Yes, you will.
either access to a trail or
However,
piping,
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, thank you, your worship. To complement what Councillor Schweinbenz had indicated regarding access to the park property, I would recommend that we explore, when appropriate, explore statutory right-of-way for access to that property, and it would expand that to include a maintenance corridor for the drainage ditch behind the property and at the base of the mountain. Obviously, we're not dealing with that now. I just want to bring it to council's attention that that would be extremely appropriate at this time.
Councillor Jackson, did you?
So the only question I have is that C2 neighborhood commercial has various uses that it can be used for. I don't have them all memorized personally. So looking down the future, if the proponents own the property, now it is C2, then whatever the bylaw at that particular time says they can do, that regardless of what the neighborhood is anymore, because how it's changed, they can go ahead and do it because they don't need a zoning change. So I just think that's something that we have to sort of, in a way, understand better what the C2 uses are. When this comes back, because you have a potential of, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, you have that potential. I think it's something that we should look at.
yes, that's correct. That's similar to our first application. It's very broad. We can limit it, the C2 to X, Y, and Z.
If you could do that,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor
One
Fassio.
last question, your worship, to the CEO. It's probably too late in the day, but I think, and I'm referring to council, not the staff, have failed over the years that we haven't had all these easements for the other properties along the west side there to get to the ditch.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether something can be done with properties along there. We could at some point have an easement of some kind to get to that which is a major ditch. It runs all the way to the Miami River. So I'm just wondering whether is that a possibility, but you don't have to answer me tonight. I'll leave it with the staff. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, everyone. You've I kind of brought up the issues that I had. And I am going to vote for the recommendation and move it forward, at least vote to move it forward at least to the next step. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. And under new business,
You're on, boss.
come on, I guess. Thank you. I will, I'll read out the resolution. Whereas the Village of Harrison Hot Springs is committed to advancing reconciliation with our neighboring communities, Stehelas. And whereas art is a meaningful way to contribute to reconciliation, restorative justice, and community building, therefore be it resolved that council directs staff to engage elders incarcerated in Mountain Institution to explore the feasibility of commissioning a piece of artwork created by a Stehelas inmate, and that staff report back to council with recommendations, including a proposed location and estimated costs. Could I have a mover and seconder for discussion? Moved by Councillor Facio, seconded by Councillor Jackson. Thank you. I'm going to provide a little bit of background on this resolution. This resolution resulted after some discussions with Mountain Institution Citizen Advisory Committee, of which I sit on, and senior staff of the institution, who originally requested that the village consider accommodating their work release program for inmates. So through my discussions with our staff, it was concluded that the village does not have, at this time, the capacity to support a work release program. Yet we can engage in a meaningful alternative, such as commissioning a piece of art from a Stahelis inmate. This would allow us to honor Stahelis, support rehabilitation through Indigenous art, and demonstrate our village's commitment to reconciliation within our capabilities as a small community. Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Schweinbans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm supportive of this. I'd like to speak to, and I may have a motion here, but you know, commissioning pieces of art in our community, I think, is something we need to explore more. There's several great artists in our community, some with large outdoor things, statues and that sort of thing that would be fantastic on our waterfront or throughout our village. And I would just like this investigation to not only include your stated goal here, but also in general to take a look at where we can put more local village art by our wonderful artists here, of which we have many. So I would like to amend just to include that that perhaps staff are directed to look at beyond, like, a larger scope than just this one single inmate, to broaden the scope a bit, to see if there are other opportunities for village art to be commissioned here in place.
Yeah, I don't want to lose, though, the intent of what my motion is, that this resolution was to provide an alternative because of our, inability to accommodate work release. So I think corporate officer, the best way to go about it would be that if Councillor Schweinbans wanted to introduce another motion, can I look for your advice? So
At
if-
another time? Yeah, okay.
At
That may be in
another-
conjunction
at-
with-
or a subsequent motion tonight.
Okay.
What would you like?
I'll do a subsequent motion.
You do the so we need to vote on
Your worship.
I think Mr. Cossey.
Mr. Cossey.
Yes, your worship. With respect to the suggestion, we are going to be looking at the amenity cost charges that we can do. That includes community art and murals and a bunch of other things where we can, but we need to talk about a strategic plan of sorts so that we can set it up similar to like a development cost charges bylaw. That's the changes to the provincial legislation. So we can do that under the amenity cost charges concept. That's not a problem. That fits in there perfectly.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. Cossey. Councillor Facio.
To your worship, to our community services manager, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you are already dealing with certain types of signage, and maybe, well, not so much about the artwork, but maybe artwork as well. I did leave you some details a few months ago, one of our famous sculptures in the village in regards. Of course, these things, now, excuse me if I may ask, is this a donation that would come from the institution?
No, not
Oh,
necessarily.
okay.
And this is just,
Because over the years, me butting in, they
Yeah.
have done carvings for the village.
yes,
The
yes,
carvings at our little corner park on Emerald, which has changed now. The original sign was done by an inmate from the Mountain Institution. So it's not unusual. that they get involved in doing but I see where you're coming from about a local artist, but I don't know whether our community services manager, I know she does so many things, but I'm thinking she's got in the back of my mind, this is coming about at some point, artwork on the beach, because we've been discussing our contributions as to Hayless in regard to some type of artwork on the beach.
Yes, so the intent of the resolution right now is just to engage, and we'll need to go
Yes.
through the elders at Mountain Institution. Number one, to see if there is any Staheless artists incarcerated there, and if they would be willing to look into it, or yeah. So that's the intent of the motion right now.
Christie has something.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to speak to that, in the draft RDS submitted through for the RMI funding, we did include like an interpretive signage project, which would include some information mainly, and hopefully some art from Staheless. That's mainly on the sort of Indigenous reconciliation side of things as well. The village has sort of an outdated public art policy that isn't utilized very often, that staff were sort of in the process of looking at and potentially coming back to council with some suggestions for changes. And then my only other suggestion from staff would be that this would fall into one of those regular budget categories moving forward, and just sort of prioritizing the overall annual budget and determining what amount you want to look at public art until the time comes when we can look at the contribution charges, which would be a nice way to have some funding come to that type of activity.
Well, thanks for that clarity. Okay, any further discussion? And I'll call the question. All in favor? Thank you. Councillor Schweinbatz, did you want to consider
Well,
me,
yeah,
or do you want to?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, my intent is to allow citizens who are artists to show off their artwork, even permanently in this village. You know, there's the fellow on Echo that has this fantastic large sculptures that he'd love to provide to the village. So I don't know if it's a motion, if it's what Mr. Cossey had said. I'm impatient, so, you know, I just want to get things going with art, so thank you. Looking for ideas.
I'm gonna make the suggestion that maybe we wait on your motion until Mr. Cossey
we'll talk
goes through the.
The next one on the list, we've stopped working on that because of the OCP situation.
Are you okay with that, Councillor Schweinbatz?
I think so. For tonight, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Unless-
Thank you, Your Worship. And just to further to what Councillor Swineben's request is that we're looking at changing the policy or bringing the policy back to council perhaps as an opportunity at that time in conjunction with the ACC.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next order of business. Are there any notices of motion?
Can we vote? I think we need a vote on that. Can we vote? Yep.
You voted.
Yeah,
On your
I think we
motion.
voted.
I have a notice of motion.
You have a notice of
Yes.
motion?
Did you want me to?
Sure.
Sure.
Seems more credible from you.
I have a notice of motion from Councillor Schweinbenz, which will appear on the next agenda as new business. Whereas the village bylaw number 1191/2023 outlines parking rates at certain times of the day at designated paid parking areas with free parking available during the evening. And whereas residents who use the village supplied EV charging stations are charged $5, the maximum parking rate, plus $2, the cost for hydropower, totaling $7 each hour at all hours of the day. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate EV charging rates, which both encourage the uses of EVs and are economical for the village to operate on a cost recovery basis.
Thank you. I was corporate office, so I'm gonna maybe request that council have that notice of motion forwarded via email, so we have an opportunity to review it prior to the next council meeting? All right. thank you. All right, next order is question period from people. Questions from the public.
Teresa
Go
Alda,
ahead.
641 Skinner Place. I have 4 main topics that I would like to ask questions about this evening. I will be brief. In regards to 856 Hot Springs Road, I have concerns about that for a number of reasons. One of my concerns is actually the increased cost of taxes and the affordability for housing in Harrison. I believe that project, making it commercial, will affect the affordability for homes in this area. We mentioned seniors housing earlier. At the rate the taxes are going up in this village, I dare say in another 5 years, many of the seniors will not be able to afford taxes on their current homes and properties. So I think that's something to be looked at. There needs to be a balance between commercial properties as well as the affordability for homeowners in general. My next concern is in regards to the battered women's letter. I'm fully in supportive of this topic. It hits very close to home. And I would like to suggest and also ask if any consideration has been given to emergency help phones in and amongst the village. I've identified a couple of areas that might be of relevance: Spirit Park, McCombs Trail, the beach, the South Village, and other isolated areas. The reason being is that with the reliance of cell phones, there are no longer payphones available. Someone is in an emergency situation and they are overcome and their cell phone is removed from them. They are limited to hopefully crying for help, or they can scream out. But if there is a help phone available to them, if they're able to access that, it may save a life. Also, in regards to that, I would like to see increased lighting on McCombs. It's a very simple solution. I go down there with my dogs, I ride my bike, I travel, other people visit there. The lighting down there, to be blunt, is the worst in the village for a high traffic location. So that needs to be a priority before any of these other kind of frills and window dressing projects, I think. And also, I would like to see, in conjunction with the battered women's issue, I would like to see a women's self-defense course offered to residents of Harrison, and to seek out those residents that may not be aware that they are at risk. Senior women, disabled women, and so that would be something that I would like to see. And also in conjunction to offer a safe walk program. If someone, if there's a volunteer committee that's willing to escort people to their cars after hours, I would like to see something like that. So those are my questions and my concerns, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Communications manager, are you making note of some of those suggestions? They may be worthwhile looking into. I know that, and Councillor Facio, perhaps you can provide some background. I believe it was last term, council looked into additional lighting, street lighting along McCombs. But I think it ended up being cost prohibited for us. Is that correct? Or CAO Tice?
Yeah. Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, there isn't, to my knowledge, there isn't actually hydro in that location. So it is, although it is a good suggestion for traffic and pedestrian safety, it is at this time not an option without funding.
Yeah, the only alternative, Your Worship, is that solar panels could light that area. Down, it is a very dark spot, I would admit, from the bridge going south to McPherson, so it's very extremely dark. Yeah, solar lighting doesn't need any ground digging or,
And it would help.
you know, or cut,
Yeah.
how much, but anyway, this could, I'll leave it for yourself and
Yeah.
the, our manager to, and staff to deal with it. Thank you.
Okay. Joyce?
Thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go just a bit farther on the same point that Councillor Jackson brought up. I've been here for 26 years. I will no longer walk on McCombs. I can see from my window people pacing up and down McCombs because there are 2 cars parked in front of my house that have been there for 5 years. Bylaw people refuse to cite. I can watch people in the forest coming in and out. I have actually shone my light on them a couple times and they'll disperse. But I brought that to council's attention many, many years ago when I first moved here, 26 years ago. And I was told basically the same thing. Thank you, but no thanks. I was told to contact Hydro. I did contact Hydro. Hydro came out, or MPC Hydro. And they told me it would cost me $10,000 to put in a pole. Okay, there's lighting on either side, but it's very sparse. And I agree, something needs to be done. We pay taxes. We need safety. You want to talk about safety for women, safety for seniors? We're being ignored 100%. So whether it's solar lighting, or whether you get another grant, or whether you cooperate with Hydro, because they said the village was not gonna cooperate with Hydro. Hydro said the same thing about you guys. We got caught in the middle, don't care. We want our safety. If you wanna really make this a proper safety community, then you need to look at the lighting on McCombs. It is unsafe for us. I will stop because I can go on about that.
Thank you.
And our other project too, but I won't. And the other last point I want to make is just actually just a statement. I mentioned this to Councilor Facio a number of days ago. Former Mayor Ken Beacott lost his wife last week. So I would like to put forth a request that either a condolence letter, card, or be it put into the minutes that one of our former mayors has lost his spouse.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to?
Anybody on Zoom, if you wish to use the raise your hand function?
Yep.
No questions, your worship?
Yeah.
No questions.
No questions? Go ahead, sir.
I live on 875 Hot Springs Road. My name is Freddie Marks. I was surprised tonight how easily all councillors voted in favor for the 2 rezonings. Many of the staff members haven't been here some years ago, but several councillors have. When we had in Harrison Hot Springs a development that people from outside of the village bought up houses and opened Airbnbs. At that time, they were enjoying their quiet enjoyment of their balconies in Vancouver or Surrey or wherever they live. But the people in our suburbs here had terror on the weekend by parties, noise, all kinds of stuff. So council did the right thing and pretty much put a bylaw in place what forbid Airbnbs in single family homes or residential homes. What we see tonight is a spot zoning to undermine this development that Airbnbs are allowed in residential zonings. We see residential zonings now confirmed to commercial zonings in order to make Airbnbs. No question that Harrison Hot Springs, like any other village and any other town in British Columbia, needs more hotel rooms for guests and for hotel taxes. But Airbnbs in residential zones is the wrong way to go. That was my wisdom. Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Marks, I just do want to assure you that nothing has been decided yet
Oh, no, I know.
at this council table. One was
But
referred
not
back.
one- Not one, sorry, but, nobody raised the question.
Thank you. All right.
Public hearing.
And then quite conceivably, Mr. Marks, the next process would also be to go to a public hearing. So we're just at step one right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, council, staff. A question, I know all the work is siloed within municipalities and other government offices, I understand that. There's a few things on my property that I might want to address, and maybe you can, the question would be how to address some of these issues. So firstly, in the spirit of reconciliation, and I'm really happy to hear that the village council is taking some really extraordinary steps to advancing reconciliation. That's fantastic. There is a sign right behind my house in Spring Park that's got a quote from Buffy Sainte-Marie. Now, you might recall that she's been exposed as a pretendian or someone who's claimed Indigenous identity fraud. And she has had her Order of Canada revoked. And I'm a First Nation person. This sign's right behind my house, and it's a bit embarrassing. So here, my idea is maybe we could do the art motion that you had just proposed. Maybe that there could be art installed there in replacement of that sign. And for sure, if the village council would like to work with me on working on that easement, because there is an issue with my driveway easement going onto the crosswalk across the highway. And I realize this is where it's siloed and it's out of our jurisdiction because it's a provincial highway. But that crosswalk is unguarded. And I really believe it needs to have a lit crosswalk for people crossing. And it needs to be moved maybe after the construction work is done for repaving to the other side, and maybe the sidewalk kind of a flow of pedestrian traffic away from my easement driveway. And on the other side, once this paving has recurred, I would most certainly love to have that included in my application if it is possible. And again, I understand that it's just an application for one zoning amendment, but I just wanted to address that and ask the council and your worship if you have any comments or suggestions on how we might tackle those multi-jurisdictional issues.
I know we have many times advocated with Ministry of Transportation for increased crosswalks on Lillooet, with it being a provincial highway. We every fall, when this council goes to UBCM and meet with ministers, it's usually one of the topics that we discuss. So I want to assure you that we're still on top of it. As Councillor Jackson indicated, the provincial government moves slow, right? But I would encourage you to continue to work with Mr. Cossey, and I do look forward to having another coming back to council in the future. So, all right, thank you. All right, nothing further. Motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Jackson, seconded by Councillor Schweinbetz. All in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, staff.